circle moment for me because I first met Aaron a couple years ago and I was going through a bit of a rough time. I had a close family member in the hospital and I was just not feeling it. I wasn't going to go to his show. He was opening for Gord Bamford and I
Right.
thought music is healing. So I said, okay, I'll go to the show, even though I'm feeling pretty crummy. And I met Aaron that day and I met some of his team members and it kind of gave me momentum and the support back of how friendly a lot of people are in the country music industry to go for it and put myself more out there and pursue what I really want to do. So now I've interviewed Aaron lots of times, of course, seen him along the way, but this time is a full circle moment because Aaron is now doing his own headlining show and he's coming back around here. And to see the growth that Aaron's had all these years and myself too, how we both grown, I think is really cool. So I just wanted to share that story.
I love that. I love that you shared that. And I love that you came that night. It's kind of a nice little lesson. You don't want to miss out on the opportunities that are right in front of you. And we're all human, so we all have our days and our circumstances that we have to navigate. And I think anytime you can get out and see a show, it's going to change your perspective in a lot of ways. I'm so glad that that happened for you. And yeah, we get to come and headline our own shows in your neck of the woods. So we're really excited.
Yeah, well, for that, I want to give a little cheers. Do you have a drink?
I have a water.
You have a water? Water is great. I've got iced coffee.
Nah, I wish I had a nice coffee. I wish I hadn't had time to stop yet and get my coffee on the road this morning yet.
I take your coffee.
Just black.
Oh, healthy.
Yeah. Well, I started when I was a youngin'. It was a double double at Tim Hortons all the time. And then as I got older, various diets and such. Over the years, I've just like kind of became a coffee snob to where it's not even like Starbucks anymore. It's just like Americano, like just black. And people are like, how do you drink that? And I was like, it's literally the greatest thing. I don't know why, but I love it so much. So.
Hey, that's the goal. You should cut out all the sugars and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then right now I'm currently on the fasting plan, so black coffee is a big part of my life.
That's great. Getting healthy.
Trying to. It's hard out there.
Yeah, I'm gotta talk about your latest release. I know you've got a really busy day, so we're gonna get cracking right down into it.
I love it.
Your time to stay. What really stood out to me is it's a common experience, what the song is about in relationships. It's one though that's not brought up so much in song, at least not as obvious with the meaning as upfront as what you are with the song. Was this song something you just kind of sat down and wrote one day, or is it something you've been kind of like chipping away at?
I had the title on my phone for a long time. It never ceases to amaze me that I could bring up an idea in 6 different rooms. And then the seventh one, I'll get in and I'll bring it in and they'll be like, oh my God, that's amazing. And I was like, how can that be amazing when 6 other people missed it? The most special thing about this song is, unfortunately, and I don't know that I put this ahead of myself, but I forecasted my life without even really knowing about it. When we wrote it, I was like, this is a huge hit and somebody's going to cut this and, it's going to be a big hit for somebody. We pitched it around town and I just love the song. Well, little did I know about a year later, I would actually live pretty much every lyric in this thing. I've been sober now for 3 years, the end of March. When I went through what I went through, like my wife had left, I found out I was an alcoholic. I didn't even know what that meant or what that was. So I checked myself into this outpatient rehab situations where I could still play shows because that was the only way, that we were making any money at the time. And things were a struggle, as they often are in a lot of relationships, And so we were struggling and I had this problem that I had to fix. And so my wife had left. She took the dogs. Like I was by myself. It was the scariest time of my life. I did not know what was going to happen. And I knew that my relationship was like just such a great thing. And my wife was literally like just a huge reason that I'm even able to do what I do. I am an ADHD bald Canadian living in another country. It was just like there's so many things against me, more so than just being bald. I knew how important that relationship was to my life and living on the good side of my life. So I kind of got through all that. And then I went back and I found this song and I was like, holy, like how did I know all that was going to happen? So this is kind of what this song resembles for me. One of the most exciting things about this song is like, not only did I kind of foreshadow my own life, but we would start to play it live. And music is so amazing when it can sort of change people's perspective or see their own situation in a different way. And so like, I think if music can do that, that's like the most powerful thing in the world. One of my favorite stories is we played it at a festival in Ontario and I got a message from a girl. Her and her boyfriend were like giving it one more weekend. If we feel like we should keep going after this, then we will. But if we both feel that we don't and we should move on, then we will do that as well. Which sounds like a very grown up conversation, something I probably wouldn't have had at their age. But and then they heard your time to stay and they're like, oh, that was our sign. That was it. Ah, man, when a song can do that, I think it's just the most powerful thing. And it's the reason that we get up on stage and we play and we work so hard to get out there to see people is for moments like that.
You just basically took my whole interview from you. You answered everything. You did. But just going back, first of all, thank you so much for sharing your journey and
Yeah,
being
absolutely.
vulnerable about that. I was thinking about you, seeing your growth through the years, and I was kind of wondering, like, I know you're a little bit older than me, but you love Victoria. You've made that so apparent through all of your music, and she's come out to support you for everything. I was kind of wondering, I wonder if they're gonna have a baby. Oh, Aaron will make a
Right.
dad, and it was
Is
kind
that
of
ever gonna happen?
is that going to happen? And, it's not something you ask, it's not appropriate. But
Right.
to see you now learning that you've had that experience on getting sober and having a big reflection there, I think that is very noble of you and also very brave of Victoria to have the mature approach, give you the opportunity to kind of
Mhm.
go through that. Like the industry is hard. Like what you're going through is not something that a lot of people experience.
Right.
And the fact that you were able to readjust and nip it in the bud and you adjusted yourself and Victoria was there for you and you started fresh and you have a baby and now she's one.
It's crazy.
Like,
Like honestly, like that was a part of this whole thing that was not it was not even a part of the conversation. I think it's kind of a testament to what God's doing behind the scenes that you're not aware of. When we got pregnant, we were still working things out. Like it was such a weird thing because she had left and went to her mom's, and so I was kind of by myself, and I was like just trying to pick up the pieces and figure out what I was going through. As I continued to do that, things just like got better. And it wasn't quick. It wasn't a fast process. It was a very slow process. But V was also like, we had financial. And she's like, well, I'm not going to leave you hanging on those. Like I was a part of those. So we're going to figure that out. And it wasn't this whole like, okay, I'm going to come back and everything's going to be great. Like it was a very slow process. And then in that process, we got pregnant. So it's like, okay.
yeah, you really got to
You
put,
know,
put
it's
your
just
swords up.
amazing. Like it's a roller coaster. Having Eloise has been the greatest gift of all in my whole entire life. I'm so glad that that sweet little girl doesn't have to see that other guy that I was ever. And I've learned how to be a country singer and not drink alcohol, and which has always kind of been a goal too, because I knew it was, I knew deep down, I knew it was always kind of a problem and something that was holding me back, but I could never stop it. I could never
Yeah,
stop at one.
yeah,
I'm like, for me, drinking is like, it's like if I'm having one beer, I'm having all the beer. So, so it's like for me, I just don't really have an off switch for whatever reason. Maybe it's for me to tell this message to people. All I know is I live one day at a time and I try and do the best that I can do. And that's about all I can do. And we have the sweetest little girl as kind of a reward for getting through this. Maybe, I don't know, but it's
yeah.
amazing.
You kill me with all those pictures. You've got a new EP that's coming out. It's called Drink in Hand.
Throwing people off. Drinking Hand's a song that I wrote that is literally about recovery. And I had this title forever again. And I wrote the song and I was like, hey, this is super autobiographical. Like, you guys might not want to write this. You might want to write for somebody else. But I was like, I just feel like it would be cool to write a song called Drink in Hand that is literally about not drinking. And they were like, that's the coolest thing we've ever heard. I was like, okay, great. So it's basically my recovery story. The whole hook of it is like learning how to not put a drink in my drinking hand. Music for me now, it's just matured. And I've learned in my career that if I talk about what I'm going through and if I'm open and vulnerable and honest about all those things, it seems to connect, or maybe it connects with more people or less people. I don't really know, but it connects in a more impactful way if I'm being open and honest. And so that's just all I've done with this record. I still sing about drinking. I drank enough to sing about it. I probably won't sing about me drinking, but I don't mind singing about drinking. It's just one of those things that life throws at you and you have to make these decisions and go forward. And for me, this is the best way to do that. And it continues to get better in different ways. And it's been such an incredible journey. And I'm just grateful to be on it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. My listeners, go check out Aaron. He's coming to Oshawa the 13th, Meaford the 14th, Picton the 15th, and Wiggum the 16th. You're going to be pretty tired.
That's gonna be yeah, it's gonna
Quite the
be, and
run
then
there.
we got a few shows in Alberta before that, so we got a couple weeks of work coming up here, but we're so excited to get out there and see everybody and play some music. It's gonna be great.
And with the Rivertown Saints for these Ontario shows.
Yes, love those guys. It's gonna be fun to hang with them.
Well, cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. Thanks so much.
I got water in my drinking hand.